Okay, so just got back from the Christmas party and now it is time to go and do some of the projects. So, all right, let's get started with this project. I'm going to come here and make myself a little bit smaller and we will jump right into it. Okay, so let's go. Um so what we were doing is we have this Redis let me actually go like that. We have this Redis method which we are trying to be able to store cached data. So we're trying to see, okay, given a certain given a certain uh, campaign ID, do we have that already stored in cache? If we do, just give it to just return it, just return that object. If not, then we need to actually go into the SQL, find that data, bring it back, put it into cache, and then give the actual object back. So that's what we're trying to do. So right here we have this task campaign. So we're going to return a task, which is kind of like a promise, and it is going to be specific for a campaign type. So, and it could be nullable. Okay, so once the once the promise resolves itself, it's going to come into a campaign or null. All right, so and we pass in the campaign ID. Now we come here and this is just syntax which is accepted by the Redis database. And so this is campaign and then the actual number. So this is the key in a key value pair. So it's just a dictionary. So then we do this await and we say, okay, well, give you the key and give me the cache. Now we see if we actually have something. All right, awesome. Then all we're going to do is we're going to come in here. This is just a printf statement essentially. And then we come here, we get the cached, which is the object from the Redis database. We just turn it into a string. First off, it's a JSON object. We turn it into a string, and then we deserialize that string into an actual object of type campaign. So this deserialized method is set up such that it will turn it into an object of a given type. And what type do we want? We want of type campaign object. So then we get that campaign and then give it back to the user. Okay, so that's how that works. Now, what about if we say, hey, we didn't find anything? There's nothing there. Well, now what do we need to do? We're going to have to go into the Redis database. No, sorry, not the Redis database. We're going to have to go into the Postgres database, the SQL database. We're going to have to find all of that information. We're going to have to retrieve it. We're going to have to turn it into a correct key value pair for Redis. We're going to have to store that into Redis, which is the cache, okay? Then we're going to have to just return that object that we just created. So let's do that. I'm going to take a sip of water and then we're going to get started. All right, so we say, hey, we missed it. We just print that, right? We missed it. Then no cache hit. So now we do this await. So we're going to get this variable back, and this is going to be the actual campaign from the SQL database. So this DB context is not the Redis. This one, see, oops, here's Redis. Here's the DB context, which is actually, oops, hold on. Context is here, and this is going to be passed in as the actual SQL database that we've set up in the other classes. So we say, okay, great. DB context, and we're going to do campaigns, right? So let me see where we actually are. We're right here. Campaigns, and now this include is going to be, what actually is this? What were we doing here? So Actually, this is what I will probably be asking. So we're going to try to figure out what is this syntax here before we actually include this into our project. What is this syntax and how is it working? Okay, so let's come here and verify that we're human and then put it in and ask it like, hey, can you please explain every single thing which is going on here? Oh, it actually might be up here. I don't know. Anyways, paste you into here and say, can you explain what is happening here? Okay. So let it do its thinking. We'll jump all around and then we can start looking into it. Okay, so it's done thinking. All right. So, DB context campaigns. DB context is the entity framework database context. So that is the thing that is the SQL database, okay? That's the connection object. It represents the there it is. It represents the connection to your SQL database. Yep. So campaigns is the database set. So that's the table in the SQL. And remember, we had to set that up with the actual. Okay, so we put the actual table here. And now we do oh, right, include. Okay, so we kind of remember doing that. I kind of remember doing this in the last video. But now it makes a little bit more sense. Okay, so what the include is going to do, this is what we're called lazy loading and eager loading, okay? So what's going on with this is I want to say, hey, there are dependencies to this table. So don't just get campaigns. Don't just get this table. Also get the dependencies, so the foreign relations to that table. So campaign, for each campaign, you're going to have ads associated with it. So through a foreign key relationship. And so this include says, hey, take that and also get the ads elements along with it. So load all of that. Okay, so C like this and then C dot ads. Okay. Now let's come here and make sure that our understanding is correct, because I actually do have some follow-up questions with that. And my follow-up questions are going to be like, number one, it does not appear that I am actually passing any parameters into the include C. Lambda function. So what is passed in as the object C? Okay. And then how does it return an object of C.ads? Okay. Follow-up question number 2. For this, same thing, am I getting all of the associated rows in the ads table, or am I getting the entire table? Okay, so that's 2 questions that I have that I don't quite understand how this is working. Okay, so here you're saying when you fetch a campaign, also fetch its related ads collection. I don't know what that means. Related ads collection. can you show me some SQL tables and what a related ads collection would be, how it would be loaded with this statement, and the resulting variable contents at the end of this statement. Okay, there we go. So now Entity Framework knows the relationship between campaign and ads via foreign key and will generate SQL joins to bring them back together. So we're doing a join. Okay. So this is the same thing. And we have that n+1 problem, which I did look up after I made the video from yesterday, but I just kind of forgot. It was something to do with like the fact that you need to be able to go and get all of the other elements which are related to the database, but then that's going to cause like in queries or something like this. I was a little bit tired when I was watching that video, to be honest, but it was something about needing to do a lot of queries. I think so. So actually, maybe we can do that as follow-up question number 3. N+1 problem is stating that there are too many queries which occur, right? Okay. So now what does this one do? First or default async. This filter, okay, so it's a filter, only return, okay, this applies a filter. Okay, what is the filter? Only return the campaign, so we're returning a campaign whose ID matches the given ID campaign. Okay, first or default async. Okay, so this is return anything which, okay, so we pass in C, and C is going to be a campaign. Okay, C is a campaign. And we return so we check the ID of that campaign and see if it's equal to the ID which we passed in. And if so, this should return a true, right? If a matching exists, return the first one. If none, return null. Okay, so next question is going to be question number 4. This right here seems to say that I am looping through all of the campaigns and passing them in as the parameter C. Okay. Then I am returning the evaluation of if that campaign object's ID is equal to the passed in parameter ID value. This will return a Boolean value. Okay, it will return a Boolean value. So I will be passing in to the first or default async function trues and falses. How does it turn into an actual object if I am just evaluating Boolean statements? Okay, it's getting a little bit long. I'm going to press enter, but we're on 4 right here. Okay, so we're going to go back up, and it's doing its thing. Let's see if we lose our place. Okay. Come on. Come on. Come on. Back up to 4. Okay, so here, the async means execute asynchronously. Okay, fine. Await, pauses. Okay, fine. The result is to assign DB campaign if found a fully populated campaign object, and null if it's not. Okay, so for the include, and we have the C, a lambda function with C as the passed in parameter, and it returns the adds field, right, of that C. C is a lambda parameter, yep, representing a single campaign entity in the query expression. You're not passing anything explicitly, okay? Entity framework builds an expression tree from the lambda. Expression tree from the lambda. Have you guys ever heard of such a thing? C.adds is a navigation property. Okay, have you ever heard of such a thing? Okay, expression trees. Number 1, what are expression trees and navigation properties? So C.adds is a navigation property on the campaign class. So on the class, so it's something you attach to a class. Entity framework sees that you want to include the related adds collection when fetching campaigns. So that's okay. So I'm fetching campaigns, and analogy. Whenever you bring me a campaign, also bring along its adds folder. So how do we get, or do we get all rows in adds or just related ones? You only get associated rows, not the entire adds table. Okay, so we're not bringing the entire table, we're just finding those specific rows. Entity framework uses a foreign key relationship to filter, okay? So we have ID 1 and holiday sale. ID 2 is summer promo, okay? So these are the 2 campaigns, all right? And now we have an ads table, and these are the specific ad, like the actual advertisements that we could have. And each advertisement is going to be associated to a single campaign. Okay, so the ID of the ad is going to be 10, and it's going to have a single campaign, which is holiday sale. So this banner ad has a specific ID of 10, and it's associated with holiday sale. This one is also a holiday sale, but it's a video ad, okay? Now this one is an email ad, and it's associated with the summer promo, okay? So let's say that I do var campaign await db context campaign. So I'm talking about the campaign table, okay? Include c lambda c.adds, okay? That's what I'm doing. That's what we're doing in the code as well. So the generated SQL is going to be select CID, CNAME CID, or AID. Okay, so when we're doing joins in SQL, you're able to identify which column you're looking for based off of which table, right? So we're doing table C, table campaign, and get that ID. The campaign's name, the ads ID, the ads campaign ID, and the ads title. So we're getting all of the rows, right? 1, 2, 3. Wait, no, 1, 2. Yep, so all of the columns. So we're getting, it defaults, from my understanding, it defaults to both columns, okay? And then this one has 3 columns, so we get all 3 columns. So this is a shorthand way of saying get all of the columns from this table and get all of the columns from this associated table, this A, ads, okay, from campaigns C. And now this is like, I believe this is like an as statement. Okay, and then we're doing a left join, ads as A. Okay. Now how are we joining? On campaign ID equals ads campaign ID. So that's the foreign key relationship right there. So campaign ID equals, campaign ID equal c.id equals a.campaign ID. There we go. Right? And that's what we see right there. Where, and now this one is c, the campaign ID is equal to 1. So that we're just looking for that based off of this because we passed in a 1 right there. Okay? So this entire thing is just an SQL statement. So it simplifies to an SQL statement. I'm even going to write that. Okay, so I'm going to say this entire thing simplifies to one SQL statement. It will look like, and then I'm going to come here and go like this. And then actually just paste this into here because I kind of want this context, okay? Like that. Okay. So now let's look at this and try to get this again. Okay, so await DB context and campaigns. So I don't want really to look at this one. I'm not going to look over there. Okay, I'm just going to keep my eyes right there. All right, so campaigns, and now we want to include all of the parameters in the ads that are associated, right? So this is setting that up, right? And then the next one is dot, well, here it is right there. First, I do have to look. I have to first or default async, right? I would not have caught that. Now, second thing that we need to do is we need to hide our Mr. Copilot. Okay, I'm going to put this. Now, what do we want here? I'm trying not to look. It is when C, and then we, no. The campaign, we're passing in all campaigns. And then we say C.id is equal to, and then that parameter that we passed in, campaign ID. Like this. Is that right? Oh, we need to do the second one. I'm sorry. Dot include, and then C. Oh, come on, man. And then C dot, what was the table? What did we call that table? Rules or something? Targeting rules, okay. Targeting rules, like that. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Campaign ID. I think we have everything the same. All right. So now we have this campaign ID. Awesome. So now what are we going to actually do with this campaign ID? We want to store it into Redis, right? So I want to say, I'm going to try to go like this and see how close we can get. Okay. So I need that Redis object, which is, so let's see, I'm going to look. It should be almost the opposite of this, okay? Okay. So it should be something like this. Await Redis string set async, and now cached key is going to be the same because it's the ID, right? Campaign and ID, that's the same. And then I'm guessing we're going to have a second parameter, which is db campaign. Okay, that's going to be my guess. We've cached it, and then return db campaign. That's what I think we're going to do. Let's, oh, come on. Let's see about this. If it's null, nope. Okay. So first we need to check if it's not null. Okay, fine. String set async. So I got this one. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that I missed. All right, so let's try that. Okay, so if db campaign is not equal to null, then what do we do? We are first going to get a JSON object. Okay, so var JSON is there. Okay, is equal to, and now JSON serializer dot. Oh, no. Go away. The little Apple assistant decided that it was going to be eager and come and say hi to me. So I was like, no. Serialize, okay. db campaign. So serialize is going to be the opposite of what we did up here. So we're doing this JSON serialize. Okay, I need to make sure that the Apple assistant doesn't hear me say that. Then this one, do I need to put it for campaign though? This one does not do campaign, so we just do we just do that word, okay? And then db campaign. Number 2, what does quiet. Okay. Is there a way to turn the mic off or something? If I turn that one off, then this one up here is going to start listening. That one, okay? A new word that I'm not allowed to say. The other one is when you're on the terminal and come on. When you're on the terminal and you want to change directories and you do here, okay? That's another banned one that I can't say because it triggers the Apple Assistant as well. What were we even talking about before we got onto that topic? Okay, what does this and D do? Okay, what does that actually mean? Okay, so we do that. We get this JSON object. Okay, great. Now, what are we going to do with that? We should probably have the same thing, right? Yeah, and we do. So, oh wait, and now on this Redis object, we do that string set async. So my intuition was correct on this one, but we have a lot more that we need to do. So we pass in the key, okay? And then what else do we pass in? So we pass in a JSON object, okay? So I guess it doesn't want this, okay, string. So we do want it as a string. So maybe that's what serialize does, is it takes an object and puts it into a string. But this is a JSON object, right? Or is it a string? I don't. Okay, whatever. And time span dot from seconds cache. This one, yes. Like that, okay? And then we just return the campaign. Okay, so what does actually do? Does it return a string or a like what's going on? And then I can just like copy that. Okay. I'm just gonna press this. And then let it do its thinking, although I wish it was a little bit more stable and we could actually read it while it was thinking, but it's going to bounce around all over the place as it likes to do while it is thinking. Okay, I think it's done. So we need to go back up and find our spot that we were at. Okay, so we were right here. So the result is campaign.id is 1, name is holiday sale, campaign ads contains 2 rows, banner ad and video ad. Contains 2 rows. Okay. So I definitely need to go and refresh myself on the joins. Maybe it's going to make more sense if I can refresh myself on that. N+1 problem. Yes, the N+1 problem means too many queries. Okay, so I kind of remembered it correctly from yesterday. 1 query to get in campaigns. So we're doing 1 query and we need to get in campaigns. The ins separate queries to get each campaign's ad. Okay, so in total N+1 queries. This is inefficient compared to loading with include, which fetches everything in one query, okay? So how does this return an object if the lambda is a Boolean? So it's a subtle point. Okay. The lambda here is a predicate, a condition. Yes, I'm a human. Okay, please. Yes. Okay. Did we lose our spot too? Oh, great. It's redoing it. Cool. Okay, so back to predicates. Where were we? Here. Okay, so this is a predicate, a condition. It does Entity framework doesn't loop through campaigns in memory. It translates the predicate into SQL. Okay, so this is just a translation into SQL. It's some way that I'm not too familiar with that is implemented within Entity Framework that just translates it to an SQL statement. Okay, fine. If this is the case, I might not want to spend too much time on this because, okay, it's something to do with Entity Framework. I understand that it's setting up an SQL statement. As long as I can generally understand kind of what's happening, I might be satisfied with it. And then we can move on and keep developing this project. Okay. So it translates to a where c.id is equal to campaign ID. Okay. So this means give me the first one that matches. That's fine. Okay. So expression trees and navigation properties. In C#, when you write a lambda function like this, Entity Framework doesn't treat it as a function. It captures it as a expression. So sometimes they're functions. Sometimes they are... There was another one that was at the... There's like 3 different things that this arrow operator can perform. Here's another one. An expression tree. An expression tree is a data structure. It's a data structure that represents code itself, like an abstract syntax tree. Oh my goodness. So this little, no wonder I was so confused about this arrow operator. It's just willy-nilly does whatever it wants to do. Oh man. Okay. Entity Framework can inspect the tree, the data structure, so it creates a data structure now, not a function, not a lambda function. So it inspects the data structure and translates it into SQL. Awesome. So it's a translator. That's great. Okay. Navigation properties. These are properties on my entity class that represent relations between tables. So I have 2 tables here, okay? The ID and the public collections add, okay? So this is a navigation collection. Public campaign of type campaign called campaign, and we have the getters and setters, okay? This is a navigation reference. Campaign.add is a navigation collection. One campaign, many ads, okay? So collection is many, is a one to many. One campaign, many ads. Add campaign is a navigation reference. One ad to one campaign. One ad to one campaign. Okay, so that's a navigation reference. Awesome. Hyperlinks to a web page. Okay. This word and this word. This word converting an object in memory into a format that can be stored or transmitted. Okay, so we're just taking it. So when I see this word, I need to say, okay, what I'm trying to do is I have an object and I want to turn it into something that I can send. So S, send. Okay. D is the opposite, so that's easy. So S is send. So I have an object and I want to send it. So I need to alias it. Okay. Now, if I just received something, I need to de-ize it, so I get an object. Okay. Here I have an object, I do this, and let me think about what's going to happen. I do the S one, so I'm trying to send it. So I'm trying to get it into a string-like thing that I can send. Something sendable, okay? And then it turns it into this thing here, which is sendable, okay? All right. What does it return? It returns a string. The string happens to be formatted as JSON text. Okay, it's not a JSON object in C#. JSON objects are just strings until you parse them. Okay. Awesome. And now we're just doing the same thing because it decided that it wanted to load. Okay, so I think we got this. Now, the second one that we are going to do is get active campaigns, and I noticed that it is 10 o'clock, so we need to do our favorite thing and make sure that we get our little green dot. So get add, get commit, finished query to Redis database class method. Okay. Main. So we should be good there. Okay, so wanted to make sure that we maintained our streak, right? We don't want to lose our little green dot. Okay, so now what are we going to do? We're going to come down here and we're going to get active campaigns. Get all active campaigns, checking cache first. So what I think I'm going to do here is we're going to have a new method, and I'm going to try not to look at it actually. So we're going to have a public, okay, and async, and then based off of the method, I'm going to try to understand what we're going to do. So because it's async, we have that task, right? And then we say list. Nope. Like this. And it is called get active async. Like this. Okay. So now what do I think that we're going to do? Get active campaigns. And I can also just paste this because that's going to give me some clues. And hey. Like this. Okay. So get all active campaigns, and I can just close that essentially. Get all active campaigns. Checking cache first. Okay. So what we're going to try to do is I want to figure out which ones have not gone, which ones are active, right? And now what qualifies as an active campaign? Let's look at the campaign. This campaign cache. Let's look here. So we have the ID, the name, the advertiser ID, status. Okay, so we're going to be looking for status. There we go. We're going to be looking for status. And we want to find all of them that are active. So, and what are we going to be returning? So we're going to have task, which is a promise. When promise is resolved, what does it give you? It gives you a list of campaigns, a list specifically set up for campaign objects, okay? So that's eventually what we're going to return. So what I want to do is I want to first, I'll probably check my Redis, right? Okay, so for item in campaign or something, obviously this is not what we want to do. We don't want to loop through all items. We want to use those fancy little lambda functions, and I know that we're going to have to do that. So how would I do this? Redis dot, then what? Let me look up here and see what we can say. Okay, so I can use this here. String get async. And now I'll need to block it. But we need an ID, don't we? We need to pass in that string, which is that ID. So how does this help us? And then I get back the item, and then I check if its status is equal to 0 or is equal to active. There should be some method here, and I can have my campaign like this, right? And it will campaign dot status is equal to active. There has to be something which is like this. And if this statement is true, okay, then we return a list and capture it here. Var cached active campaigns. Something like this. Okay. And then I need to go and try to search that SQL database. So I can do something like this, something very similar. So instead, I'm just going to say SQL active campaigns is equal to await, and then what do we call it? DB context dot, and I'm talking about campaigns. And then I can say like dot first, was it first default async? But I don't want the first one. I want find all. Sure, find sounds good. And where C dot status is equal to active. Okay, and now return plus SQL. Obviously, I know that this is not going to work. I am butchering this, but I'm trying to understand, okay, what is the way that I would implement it, And now I'm going to go and look at the way that it was implemented here. That way I can also be trying to use my brain as I'm doing this. All right, let's see how they did it. So we have this Redis thing. So active, campaigns active all, okay? Cached is Redis. Let's just start writing this. Oh, come on. Like this. Get rid of that breakpoint and come here. Okay, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to say first thing we do is we have that cache key is going to be equal to what? The table active all. So this is just some kind of Redis notation, okay? We need to focus up on, or we need to learn a little bit more about Redis notation, but there it is, that's fine, right? Okay, so now we say that cached is going to be equal to await Redis dot get async, and now we have that cached key, so cache key like that, like this, and now we have cached. So it seems like we're trying to find, what does it mean by active all? Because let's say that we have three active campaigns in our Redis, but in total there's 100 active campaigns. Okay, so there's 100 total active campaigns in the SQL database. 3 of them are in cache. So this is going to come back with a non-null value, right? I'm going to come in here. I'm going to get all of this and just return those campaigns. The 3, not the 100. Okay. So let me come here, and what do we think that we're going to do? So if, say, cached, right? Cached dot has value, yes, like this. Now what do we want to do? The first thing I want to do is I need to get it into, so I just got it from the database, right? So this, I just got it. So I need to, I'm not trying to send, I'm trying to do the other one, which is D. Okay, so result is equal to, what was it? Something like this, dot, and then like this. Did I need to pass this in? I'll think about that. I might need to pass something in. I'm going to make sure that I'm not looking. And now I want to pass in cached. This is going to be a string, so it doesn't know what object to make it, so I do need to put it in. So this is going to be of type campaign. So now that it is like this, I need to, this is an object, so I return that result. Something like this. Okay, so it's going to be a list of campaigns. And I need to turn it into a string, and we return that. And this is just a printf statement. That's fine. Okay, so dot, and it is actually a list of these like that. Okay. And then we have this dot to string. Okay. Like that. And then we do something strange. We return this. If it's null, okay, then we do new something. I don't know what we're returning new. That's going to be a follow-up question as well. Okay. And now, and we can just copy and paste this. That's fine. Whatever. Awesome. Okay. So now what we can do is like this. We copy and paste this one, right? Like that. And then we're going to be doing this. Let me come here. And now I want to find var result is equal to, what was it, db context dot campaign. And then we had that dot. This is the fast loading or the eager loading include, and we want, what do we want? We want the actual, which foreign table do we want? Oops. We want the foreign table of ads, right? And we also want the foreign table of I hate, like, space will autocomplete as yes, enter will autocomplete as yes, tab will autocomplete as yes. Is there like a one that doesn't autocomplete as yes? Like this. And now I say dot targeting rule, like this. And now what was the other one that we want to do? We want to find all, right? But I don't know what the find all is, so okay, we're just gonna look. Okay, so where see, if I do space, it'll do it. If I do this, how about tab? Yep, see, tab does it as well. Shift, tab, caps lock. Whoops, no. Please do not start talking. No. Well, that got rid of it, but if I do enter, yeah. If I do space, shift enter. Okay, this is just annoying. Now, okay, where status, is it capitalized? Is it not? Who knows, right? Is equal to active. Okay, and then to list async. And now we need to await this. Okay. So there's a lot of questions that I'm having here. And I'm going to say, I guess my way of doing this is not accurate. And then I comment it out. Right, like that. There we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is come here, and now we need to actually do this same thing. So come here and say JSON is equal to, and then it was somewhere here. This one, right? This, but we actually want this one because we're trying to send it to, and then we're going to send it to Redis, right? So we're trying to this word all of those campaigns. Result await Redis dot, what was the one with setting? String set async, okay? And then what do we want to set? We want to set the key, which is that cached key, which is all of them, right? This says all. Oh, I think I see what's going on. We're storing all of the active ones. And then if we already know all of the active ones, so what is the key? The key is this with the string active all. And then the value is all of them. So it's not going to be 3 of them. It's going to be all 100, and we store that in there. And then later on, let's say that there's an update. Now it's 101 active. Well, we're not going to get that 1. Okay? Or let's actually, this is kind of a dangerous situation. What about the situation in which we have 100, we store it in here, but one of them becomes inactive? Well, our database is actually out of sync. Our memory, our RAM is out of sync. So just looking at the code, I'm a little bit concerned about that. So I do this, okay, cached key and the JSON object, and then we did some weird thing with like time or something, whatever it is. Okay, fine. Time span, sure. Like this and like that. Okay. And then we can just return result like that. Let's see if that's what happened here. So we get all of that, and I called it result. That's fine. Serialize, result. Yep. Await Redis, string async, cached key, JSON, that weird time one, and then return the result. Hey, we actually got it. Okay. Interesting. There's a new method right there. I am actually going to copy and paste this and ask it about some of the things which I am curious about. So I have here for this one, it seems like if I have 100 elements in my SQL and I then load those 100 elements into Cashe, then if there is a change to the 100 elements in my SQL, this will not be updated in my cache because I will do a query for cached active. If any are present, then I will not bother to even look into the SQL. All right, so let it do that, and I'll take a drink. It's more than, it was just a drop of water, but it's fine. All right. So, exact trade-off of caching. The cache can become stale if the underlying SQL data changes, but the cache isn't refreshed. Let's walk through what's happening in your code and why. So, check Redis. Look for all of the active ones. If present, deserialize return list immediately. Fast and potentially outdated. Yes. If not Redis, queries SQL for all active campaigns, does this to put them into a JSON and puts them in with time to live. Oh, so we have a time to live of 5 minutes? Is that what we're doing? That's that weird time thing? Oh, time to live. Oh, okay, there it is. There it is. That's how we'll refresh it. And then once it's past 5 minutes, we just empty the cache, or like say this is no longer valid, and then Redis will dump it, and then we'll get null and then load it again. Okay, awesome. There we go. I understand it now. So we can change that parameter. We can make it smaller if we really care about more updated things. Okay, awesome. Then so I think actually we are at a good stopping point. Let's get another, since I like doing save points, right? Okay, so let's do this again. So added method to check Redis cache for active campaigns. So we don't need to search SQL database each time. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So I think I'm going to leave it off here for today's video. In the next video, we will come to this, which is invalid campaign async. So we'll figure out what this is doing and then start working on the actual bit inch. There's just one more. Let's do it. Let's do it. I didn't know that it was just... Okay. Okay, I didn't know that it was like that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Public async task. So we're returning a promise. Invalidate campaign sync. And we have this and campaign ID like this. Okay, so now what are we going to be doing? We have this key, and now we're going to create a C# string. And what is it going to be? So I'm going to say campaign scope resolution operator and with the campaign ID, camping ID. Okay, like that. And now we want to, let's just see what this is saying. We're talking to Redis. Okay, that's fine. Key delete asynchronous cache key. Okay, so this one we are saying, hey, Redis, I don't want you to, I don't want this campaign ID to be valid anymore. Please clear it from your memory. That's all we're doing. That actually, I'm really glad that we just decided to tackle it right now. This is a fairly simple one. Dot key delete async, and then we're gonna do campaign active all. Okay, like this here. Like that. So now we're saying, hey, this grouping of all the active campaigns, it's no longer valid. Just delete that. So now we're not even relying on that time to live anymore. We're just saying if that 100 now turns to 99, just take this 100, throw it out. And then we're going to have to come out and do this, save it back into the async or into Redis, and then return the 99 next time we try to find it. So that's what we're doing. And then we just log it. Okay, that was actually a much, I'm glad that we were able to get that. Do we need it? We should do one for each time. Okay. I feel like we did it too much, but we do need to update it each time we do it. Added invalidation method for Redis such that when a becomes inactive, we clear that from and also invalidate the group of all active campaigns. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So I'm glad that we were able to do that because it kind of gives us a fresh start for next time when we work on this one, which is going to be the bid engine. So this one's actually kind of cool. This one is we are going to be trying to figure out how do we actually perform the selection of these ads. So I'm kind of excited about this upcoming one. This is where we get into a little bit more of the it even says it right there, core algorithm, like the actual part of this program. So this one will be pretty cool. The other ones were kind of setting up setting up the different entities and saying, okay, how do we communicate with the Redis database? How do we communicate with the SQL database? How do we model these tables and get them to be similar? So now we're getting into more of the algorithm of, okay, well, the client requests an ad. How do we actually serve that ad? So here we go. And how do we select the highest cost ad to then serve to the client? So things are getting exciting. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it and if you want to continue along on this journey with me, I would love to have you subscribe to the channel. That would be great. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I will see you in the next video. All right.